So, hey everyone. So, I'm finally in a good position to talk about the Battlestar Galactica 20th anniversary convention in Chicago, which I went to a few weeks ago, I guess late October, October 24th and 27th, maybe. I think it was about that time, whenever that weekend was. But it was my first solo convention, I think, in many years because I knew that it was going to just be me. I knew that Shrag was not coming with me, that I was going by myself. So it was kind of at least a little bit intimidating at first. But at the same time, I was also looking forward to going to see it myself, to being there for the first time. So I decided to go. And, it was, I mean, I traveled twice on a plane this past year. I went to Star Trek Las Vegas, I went to MFM, so I'm not a stranger to air travel, but it was kind of the first time I'd been by myself. So, I grabbed a couple of my teddy bears, I grabbed a borrowed Shrag's suitcase, and I took my laptop and I went to this convention in Chicago. And so I don't. I knew I found out about it earlier this year. I don't know if it was something that had been going on, but I kind of got the feeling, both from comments from some of the actors and also from my own research, that while there have been other cons that have Battlestar Galactica elements, I think this was the first time that they had a convention dedicated to themselves, based on comments made by Edward James Olmos and a few others. Um, and it was kind of one of those things that when the opportunity presented itself, I saw that they were having a Battlestar Galactica convention, and I was kind of curious. It's like how this was going to work, because I'd been to Star Trek Las Vegas where they have 140 guests, and it's in a huge Vegas resort, and this was going to be a lot of a smaller affair. It was in a hotel. They had like 12 to 14 guests, and I was kind of like, how is that going to work? Is a single show enough to sustain convention, because I know this is also a corporate run convention run by the same people that run Star Trek Las Vegas Creation Entertainment. And I knew they had done a convention for Smallville, which apparently was only 2 days. Which I'm a fan of Smallville, but it's like I'd never been aware of it at the time, and of course, I hadn't ever up until last 5 years or so been kind of focused on collecting autographs and doing photo ops and doing all these things that I you know knew I knew on some level were possible, but I never realized I could do these things. So it's just one of those sorts of things that I started to do. But anyway, the convention was, I think, the first dedicated Battlestar Galactica con. It was the 20th anniversary because the show the miniseries premiered in 2004. So here we are, 2 decades later, and the show still has a lot of ardent fans, one of which are myself, because I've always loved Battlestar Galactica, the remake anyway. I have been watching it pretty much every other year since it aired, so I've probably seen it at least 10 times by now, and it's a fantastic ride. It's a great sci-fi series. If you like serialized sci-fi, if you like really good sci-fi, period, you will do yourself a favor and watch this series if you haven't. Um, but I went to the Westin O'Hare. It was about a mile away from the MFF hotel. I actually drove past it on my way to from the airport. The rooms were nice. Here's a couple of pictures of what the room looked like. It was the first time I think I'd stayed in this hotel. I knew where it was now once I got there, because I recognized a couple of landmarks having driven around the Rosemont area, because I knew it was in that same area. All the hotels are right by the airport. And this was a really nice hotel. It had a gift shop downstairs and a Starbucks that I visited a few times, and a hotel restaurant that I ordered room service from a couple of times, because, originally I was planning on probably finding food outside, but I kind of also realized that, I don't feel like wandering around by myself alone in the dark in Chicago at night, so I just kind of stayed in the hotel and just ordered room service most nights. But and I guess I'll talk about the last night a little later. But the rooms were really nice. The bathroom was nice. It was just a really nice hotel room, and I had a nice stay there. It's really comfortable. During the days I was doing a lot of con activities. At nights I was usually watching, Top Chef or Beastars or a couple of other shows that I had been Netflixing because I only had streaming stuff that I had access to. But somewhere along the line, I was like, you know what? I feel like watching Top Chef because I just finished a season of Hell's Kitchen before I came here. So I decided to go and watch some Top Chef again. I picked a random season and just started watching it, and it was fun. That was how I used to spend my dinner time, watch a couple episodes of Top Chef, chill in the hotel room. But as mentioned earlier, it was run by the same company that runs Star Trek Las Vegas, Creation Entertainment. I bought a silver ticket to this convention because whereas at Star Trek Las Vegas, they're a lot more expensive. Silver ticket wasn't that much, so I bought it because it kind of saves you some time. It's not quite like a VIP ticket, but it's just like it'll get you a guaranteed seat in the front of the auditorium, get you to the front of an autograph lines, although it really only paid off the one time. But that being said, it seemed like a good idea, and it was kind of nice to be able to have a guaranteed seat in the auditorium. Um, I don't know how many people were there. It didn't seem like it was that crowded, but Creation Cons never do. It's like even though they say that they don't oversell their convention so that everybody will have a seat in the auditorium, it's like even at Star Trek Las Vegas, it's like 15,000 people or 25,000, however many it said it was. And I don't ever recall it feeling crowded. And it's amazing. I don't know if it's just their logistics or just the fact that a lot of these people show up for one day or whatever, maybe a combination of a few things. But their cons have never felt crowded. I have never really felt like I needed to wait on a line more than an hour at the most. And usually it's just very, very efficient. But day one, I did a couple of photo ops. The majority of my time, I think, was spent in the afternoon anyway on autographs. Um, as I think I've mentioned before, Edward James Olmos has the most beautiful handwriting ever. If I haven't, saying it now. He's a very nice man. I got 5 of the autographs I needed that first day, which was really nice. I got most of the rest of the ones I needed on day 2, and I think day 2 I had to do Grace Park and Trisha Helfer because I got there. I went down like a couple hours early, and Trisha. There was already a line at Trisha and Grace's table, so in order to get, I mean, at the time I was like an hour and a half early, but I decided to get on Trisha's line just in case because she was only going to be there the Saturday, which I didn't realize until I was actually there. So I figured I'll wait on this line just so that if I do, I can get through it really quickly. And she showed up at a certain time in the morning. I got her autographs, and then I went on to Grace Park. Unfortunately, Grace had something to do, so they gave us a couple of sticky notes and told us to come back, which did pay off later because Grace Park had a long line, and I was able to get an autograph from her later, a little, without having to wait too terribly long. But all things considered, autographs, especially at these kinds of cons, are a combination of planning, timing, and a little luck. So for the most part, there was a few that I really didn't have to wait online at all for. There was some that I had to wait quite a bit, but for the most part, it all kind of balanced out, and it was just a matter of like being on, just kind of keeping an eye on things. Um, but I didn't have to wait very long for like James Callis or Jamie Bamber or Rekha Sharma, I think. And a lot of them, so the wait wasn't too bad. Michael Hogan was there, which I also want to make a shout out to him, especially to thank him and his wife for being there because he had had a fall after a couple of Battlestar Galactica convention a couple of years ago, and he had had a brain bleed, which I didn't know about, and as such, like his speech and mobility is somewhat limited. And I'm appreciative of the fact that he was there in the first place. And he was not really able to do a lot of manual autographs. But what they chose to do was have a stamp, which was really kind of a large stamp, but it was more than I had expected they would be able to do. So, they would have like silver ink on the stamp and it would say Frackamal, and it was really good. Really just nice to have it there and to have him there, get a picture with him because, as we all know, we never know how many days we have on this earth. So, some of these opportunities, it's like you have to take while you have the opportunity. And, I wish him continued recovery. And, thank you so much again for just being at the convention because it really is something I think a lot of the fans appreciated. And I think that it was really just good to see him there. And I'm sure a lot of his co stars appreciated seeing him as well. because apparently he had been in hospital or hospice pretty much constantly since the accident, and this was the first time he had had to go anywhere. So I was grateful that he was there. Um, day two, I did a couple of the photo ops that I wanted to do, including the women of Battlestar Galactica. I don't have the photo to paste up here right now yet because I haven't been able to afford to get the JPEGs yet, but I will be doing that sometime soon. Then I will share them around here when I have the opportunity. Um, but I will, a couple of days, usually a couple every day. I would go to a couple of panels. I want to say that they were usually really interesting. That some of them had some funny stories. Um, I also would like to point out, and just this, at the end of the third day, the last panel was Edward James Olmos and Jamie Bamber, and they decided to wrap up the convention pretty much in the best way possible. Edward James Olmos led the audience in a call and response of "So Say We All," which was really just an indescribably unique moment to be a part of, and I was grateful that I had gone to this convention. Overall, it was very efficient. It was a smaller scale than Star Trek Las Vegas, but still, they had lots of people there. I think the actors really enjoyed it. I think the fans really enjoyed it, and I think it's the kind of thing that they will probably do again as long as it's sustainable. But I would like them to continue doing it. I think next year is going to be in a different state, in a different time, which is not something I think I can do every year. I mean, I would like to, but the reality is that these creation cons are very expensive, and not to say that I won't, because I really enjoy going to Battlestar, but it might be the kind of thing that I might have to go back to, every 3 years or every two, or I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. Likely, more than likely than not, I probably won't be able to go next year. Um, because I think if I'm correct about the timing, it's going to be right in the middle of our con season. And between Star Trek Las Vegas and MFM, which are 2 weeks apart next year, it's already a lot. So there's no way I could do three. Not for my job, not for money, not for anything. It's just I just can't. But that being said, we'll see where they hold it and when they hold it in 2026, if they do hold another one. But that being said, I will consider that if and when we get to that point. Now, will I do a third con next year? Maybe. I mean, odds are it's not looking very good that I'll do a furry con to sell books at, just because I'm still in that same spot that I was a year ago, trying to get a book out. But hopefully once I do it once, I will take notes this time and I will have better luck the next time. That being said, hopefully also it will be more consistent, because I do have Wonderfall 2 written. It just needs to be edited and cleaned up. What else is there? I also want to try and edit, clean up, and release the Werewolf Anthology. I still need to come up with a 12th story because I have 11. I wanted to do 12. I want a round number, but we'll see if that happens. I need an idea. But in order to do that, I kind of need to clean up my outline, and it's a whole bunch of shit. But that being said, it was a great Battlestar convention. I had a fantastic time, and it really has opened me up to being the willingness to do conventions by myself if I should choose to do so, because it was a nice convention and a nice opportunity to just go and just kind of not have to worry about anybody else for a few days. Like, nothing, just me. And it was something that I would consider to be something very fun. I enjoyed it. I had a great time, and I would love to go again sometime. So that was my Battlestar convention, and see you when I see you next.
If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. Catch you later.